You don't have to... Alright.
Alright, now we're going to talk about Founding Fathers.
Very patriotic game, a game about the U.S. Constitution, and I think it's the only one in existence about that theme.
Probably so.
There may be another one. But this game is designed by Jason Matthews and Christian Leonhard. You may know Jason Matthews from the Twilight Struggle and the 1960, and he did that weak game about the 2008 presidential election. But anyway, this game follows the same genre, but this was a multiplayer game for more than 2 people, and I think it follows the theme fairly well. But it again lets you use cards for various things. But there's a lot of different things in this game, some neat components. We'll look at it and then we'll tell you whether we approve or not this game.
I approve.
Well,
I'll just tell you now.
Oh, spoil everything. Once again, there's no way we're going to be able to go over all the rules for the game. But basically, what you're doing is you're meeting together here to put together the Constitution. And each person takes one of the major players of the Constitution. We have Charles Pinckney and Alexander Hamilton and my favorite, James Madison, mostly because, well, it was he who actually pulled it off. This card also tells you some symbols and stuff that are in the game. That matters a little bit, but we'll explain more about that in a bit. What you are doing in this game is you're trying to get different articles of the Constitution passed or even failed, trying to get the most points for doing so. As the game progresses, there will be an article up for debate. And what the article is not really that important. It has the article and the alternative. And I find that part fascinating. I like the whole historical aspect of this game. And in fact, I like how there's all this flavor text on the cards, flavor text on the person you're playing. That's very enjoyable to me. I love reading about the Constitution, and I know some of you may not be Americans who are watching this video, but I can say as an American, this is one of the most fascinating periods of history for me. On your turn, you have some options that you can do. One of those options is to declare some people for the vote. Now, each of the cards is two-sided, and all the backs of the cards are not all the same. They show what state that person's from. So I could say, well, Pennsylvania votes yay, and put one of my tokens on top of it. And that would be if I was Roger Sherman. By the way, you have to sticker all these tokens. It's not so bad. I've stickered worse. So Pennsylvania can no longer vote no or yes. The only other way Pennsylvania could vote, someone could do something different, is if, let's say, Sam put down 2 Pennsylvania cards, he could then say Pennsylvania votes yes, and that would kick mine out. I could also vote no, but there are symbols on here, and you cannot vote against your own party's bill. The symbols stand for small states, large states, federalists, and anti-federalists, maybe?
Yes, anti-federalists.
And so, you know, this one here, which is the anti-federalist, yes. I believe, the anti-federalist card cannot be used to vote against that. You have to vote for it. And the opposite, the federalists would never vote for that. They have to vote against it. So you have to decide whether you're going to vote yes or no. When one of these sides of tables are filled up, there's 7 for yes, there's 6 for no. When one of them fills up, the bill either passes or goes away. If it passes, we put it over on the side of the board. On this side, if it fails, we put it on this board the other way. The only reason for that is the symbol on the card. When that happens, and we put this aside, and we get the points for, everyone gets points for it. And you get points for each card that you used to vote for it, and you get double points if your cards match the symbol that's on it. Anybody who voted nay goes down here to committee. And the committee is working on some resolution down there, and you can get stuck in committee for a long time. You can also use cards to increase on different tracks, which basically, after each round, after each article, if you have the highest on one of these tracks, then you'll get a token of that type. The tokens here in the bag. And at the end of the game, if you have tokens for whichever bills get passed the most, you'll get extra bonus points. Finally, you can play a card for its text on the card. For example, here James Madison says, gain 1 additional influence marker. And I get this one if I am James Madison to start the game. So I'll start with some of, 3 of these, but I might want to get another one. And there's other ways to get more. You can remove someone's tokens off the board. These cards can be kind of chaotic in a sense. You can switch all kinds of stuff. You can attack other players. George Washington can be played and said, "Oh, we're done. It's time to, the vote's happening." And that's basically the extent of the game. These people from committee will come out if you have the most, and you'll get points for the number that you sent down there. And I'm not going to get much more detailed than that, but that's basically the gist of the game. You keep voting on the bills. Once a certain amount of bills have been voted on, whether they're passed or failed, and the alternative gets into place, you add up points for the tokens that you got earlier, add that to whatever score you've scored during the course of the game, and the person with the highest score is the winner.
There's a lot of thematic meat to this game, and one of the things that I found while we were playing our game with Joe is that there was a lot of conversation that sparked just by reading the actual, by reading what this article does, what this article was for, and then we read the other side of it, the other option of the article. So a lot of conversation was sparked, and that was a fascinating part of the game as well. It made the game go a little bit longer, of course, but it added to the flavor of the experience.
And I also like, again, there's just so much flags of the delegations and information about that. I love history. And so for me, that was just a really cool thing to have all that put into place. Jason Matthews always puts a good chunk of history in his games. For me, this game gets 1.5 thumbs up. Now, that seems odd since I just talked how much I liked about the history, and I really do. And I think everything's thematic, and it's really cool. But the gameplay itself is not as exciting as I thought it would be. If you took the theme away, if you took everything else out of it, and just looked at the gameplay itself, it's kind of, I have more tokens here than you have tokens. I'm more this symbol than you have that symbol. Now, that's not a bad thing. When you add the theme, it works together. And this is a game that needs its theme. Because without the theme, this game would be terrible, I think. True. But that's not why. That's why it doesn't get 2 thumbs up for me. Another thing is, the backs of the cards are all different, and this game has a learning curve, because if you know, for example, what the Ben Franklin card does, if you know what the George Washington card do, and you know what state they're from, you have an advantage when you're drawing the cards. Because when you draw the cards like Ticket to Ride, you can draw any of the 3 cards or one from the top of the stack, but you can still see what state they are. So if you know which delegates from which state do which, then that helps out.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to be so harsh, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up, and the reason is because you can't strip the theme away from the game and then judge the game. I think the theme is part of the game, so you need to judge the game as its whole. And so I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up, because I'm not going to divorce the theme from its game. I think they knew that this theme worked with this gameplay, and they went with it. So 2 thumbs up from me, 1.5 from the loser.
No, look, I'm rebuttaling here. Rebuttaling, is that a word?
Rebutting.
Rebutting. I know you can't divorce the theme from the game. I'm just saying that the game itself, I was like, okay, I have a card, I can add it to the yes side, to the no side, go to committee, or move a track, or play the card for a special thing. And it just didn't feel that exciting to me. I guess there was a little bit of lack of excitement. Sure, we can role play and say, Pennsylvania votes nay, and do all that old English nonsense.
Which we did.
Yeah, and that's fun. It just, I would give this one maybe a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I'll go probably 7.5 to 8 then.
There you go.